Welcome to the Saturday Slam and Jam, brought to you by Amazon Prime. On today's show, we're back doing the good, the bad, the what? It is Clippers week. It's Clippers week. Law Murray's here. And trivia is back. And someone else is back. My good friend Alex Speers is back to tell us what happened in the NBA this week.
Andrew, the top story this week is that we got our first look at the new faces in new places after the NBA trade deadline last Thursday. How about starting with James Harden, who is now in Cleveland? The Cavs went 3-0 in their first week with Harden, including a win over Denver that featured a game-tying three by Harden with 32 seconds left in the game. The Cavs are now 10-1 in their last 11, sit only a game out of the 3 seed in the East, where I, of course, predicted they would finish at the halfway point. Could I have been more bolder, though? Because the Cavs are only a game and a half back of the Celtics for the 2 seed.
Let's go.
Listen to this. Bottom 5 schedule rest of the season per Tankathon.
Ooh.
Yeah. Another face in a new place was Jaren Jackson Jr., who was traded to the Utah Jazz at the deadline. Triple J played in 3 games for the Jazz this week. He got off to a great start in all 3 games, but unfortunately completely disappeared in the fourth quarter every time. It was like he wasn't even out there. Luckily, Will Hardy pushed all the right buttons, and the Jazz dragged themselves against their will to a 2-1 record this week. Now, in response to this success, the NBA fined the Jazz $500,000 for resting their starters. Listen, if we're going to start fining teams for resting starters in the fourth quarters of games they win, Commissioner Silver, may I direct your attention to the disgusting practices of the Oklahoma City Thunder earlier this season? Hold on a second. I'm getting word that the Thunder actually are being investigated for resting players in a recent game against the Spurs. Thank you, Commissioner Silver. Your laser focus on important issues is unmatched. Now, back to Triple J. Unfortunately, the story does not have a fun ending because we found out on Thursday that Triple J will likely be out for the rest of the season after a growth was discovered in his right knee, which is going to require surgery. Now, Harden and Triple J were the 2 biggest names on the move at the deadline. I guess Anthony Davis as well. He's not playing, though. At least when talking about players changing NBA teams. But we did get one other big move, which involved Giannis Antetokounmpo. After much speculation, Giannis didn't end up changing NBA teams at the trade deadline, but he did join a prediction market website as an investor. Now, if you're unfamiliar with prediction markets, you can predict, for instance, whether an NBA star is going to be traded at the deadline. If you feel like you have a good read on the situation, or if you actually know what's going to happen because you have inside information, you can put money on it. As someone who loves getting rid of money, prediction markets are perfect for my financial goals. This summer, you'll be able to place a bet on Giannis getting traded with a company where Giannis is an investor. Forget about getting autographs. How about betting on Giannis with Giannis? The ultimate fan experience. And I can't wait to see how this doesn't lead to a massive scandal in a few years. Speaking of massive scandals, it was announced this week that the very litigious Wizards mascot G Wiz has hired a high-powered attorney to go after Lakers center Jackson Hayes after Hayes pushed G Wiz prior to a Lakers-Wizards game, which led to a 1-game suspension. Now, G Wiz, through his attorney, claims that he sustained injuries from the push and will pursue legal action if Hayes does not settle out of court. To be clear to our younger listeners who may be worried about G Wiz, there is a human man inside of G Wiz. Now, it's possible that man was injured, but I want to assure you that G Wiz is going to be fine no matter what. G Wiz is immortal. He cannot be killed, much less injured.
True.
So do not worry about G Wiz. Moving on to other suspension news, we had a doozy of a brawl this week between the Charlotte Hornets and the Detroit Pistons. It all started when Jalen Duren and Moussa Diabate got in each other's face after a play, and Duren shoved Diabate's face away with his hand. Now, Moussa, that pissed him off. He began trying to swing on Jalen Duren as the 2 teams began to get mixed up. Just as things seemed like they were starting to settle down, Miles Bridges threw a punch at Jalen Duren, which caused Isaiah Stewart to sprint off the Detroit bench to confront Bridges. In the end, 4 players were ejected, all were suspended. Duren got 2 games, Bridges and Diabate got 4, and Beef Stew got a 7-game suspension due to his previous history of loving to fight. The fight and suspensions overshadowed what was a very fun matchup between two of the hottest teams in the league. The
Yeah.
Pistons have a healthy lead over Boston for the number one spot in the East, but crucially, the Pistons moved ahead of the Thunder this week for the best overall winning percentage. They are now a half game up on OKC. For the Hornets, their incredible march up the East standings continues. They have won 10 of 11 and now sit in the ninth spot in the East. They're only 4.5 games back of the sixth seed, which is
Mhm.
looking increasingly doable as they continue to win almost every game.
Yep.
Most importantly, the Hornets' recent run has completely changed their chances of being a surprise team this season. Using our official surprise team tracker, which you can find at tinyurl.com/surprise team,
That's
the
right.
Hornets are officially on pace to be a surprise team and beat their preseason over-under by at least 10 games. Did any
Wow.
of us pick them? No, of course not.
No.
I mentioned the Pistons passed the Thunder this week in the overall standings. Well, the Spurs are trying to do the same thing in the West. San Antonio
Mhm.
has won 6 in a row. They now sit only 3 games back of the Thunder for the number one seed in the West. This week saw several wild stat lines from the Spurs. In a game against the Mavericks, Steph Castle had a 40-point triple-double, putting up
Yep.
40, 12, and 12 on 15 of 19 shooting from the field. And then in the very next game against a shorthanded Lakers team, Victor Wembanyama came out in the first half and scored 37, finishing with 40 and 12 in only 26 minutes of play. The Spurs also made an off-court move this week, waiving former lottery pick Jeremy Sohan, who was picked up by the New York Knicks. Finally, it's All-Star Weekend, and we've had a lot of All-Star replacements named by
Mhm.
Commissioner Adam Silver. Kawhi
Mhm.
Leonard, Alperen Sengun, Brandon Ingram, and De'Aaron Fox have all been named to the All-Star team in the past week. Now, if you've been following along with the All-Star news, there's obviously been a lot of pushback regarding this year's All-Star game because of the new format, some questionable Saturday night participants.
Yeah.
But don't worry, because Commissioner Silver waited until a few days before to pull the final rabbit out of his hat. From Variety.com, the NBA is, quote, turning its All-Star Weekend events into a content factory for more than 200 top creators. The weekend will offer, quote, days of content fodder for social media creators. Now, I'm sure you had your doubts about Adam Silver's ability to make the All-Star game relevant again, but rest assured, we're getting days of content fodder, folks. Usually, you'd be lucky to get a couple hours of fodder, and this man is giving us days of it? Listen, I can only speak for myself, but I cannot wait to consume the fodder being pumped out of the content factory this weekend. And those are the top stories this week, Andrew.
Oh my gosh, that was brilliant. I'm so
Um,
glad you're back. We needed you back this week in particular, Al.
yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry I was sick. I got sick.
Got sick.
It's time now, though, for our weekly segment where we talk about something good we like, something we didn't like, and something that left us confused in a segment we call Good, Bad, What? Andrew, what is your good this week?
My good this week is Nikola Topic taking the court for the Thunder
Hey.
last night in OKC. I was lucky enough to be able to sit courtside for this game to see it happen, and the journey that he's had to take to get to this point is pretty remarkable. The fact that he came into the league, he had the partially torn ACL, had to have surgery, had to recover from that all season, didn't get to play. Like that's difficult just in general, coming back from an ACL tear, having to live in like a completely new country, having to like live a new life in Oklahoma City, I think was really difficult for him. And then he gets to play summer league, looks pretty good, plays in his first preseason game. He looked good. He looked ready to like contribute to the Thunder. And then he um, gets testicular cancer, has to have surgery, has to do chemotherapy. He's recovering from that. And that's a long road. And he still has a long way to go. We talked to Mark Daignault last night about it, and he said like he is not really close to the player athletically that they would want him to be just because of like the recovery from chemo. And so he got to play yesterday. It was very cool. The Oklahoma City crowd really met the moment. Like he got a standing ovation. It was very cool to see him. I mean, everybody was kind of waiting to see what he would do on the court. He had a nice assist. He had a nice mid-range bucket, but didn't play a ton. And I just thought it was really a really cool moment for him to finally take the court. Now it's going to take a bit longer for him to return to the level that he wants to be at, and we may not even see that this season from him. But just a very cool story. He declined to talk to the media last night. I was really hoping to talk to him after the game, but he was kind of overwhelmed with emotion just from the night, and then didn't end up talking to the media, which is totally understandable. Not only do you have all these things happen, and then all these people wanted to talk to you, but there's like a language barrier that exists as well, and the guy is still super young. But it's just a very cool story. Like, rarely do we get like these like stories like this in the NBA that are kind of feel good moments for a guy who's overcome so much. So I just thought that was good. In a game that was so bad for the Thunder, we had this like really good, just kind of feel good moment for Nikola Topic.
Yeah, unfortunately, Usman Jang has some issues with being traded away from the Thunder, and he let us know about it. Made every shot.
Shout out to Us. Us was awesome in that game. He was
awesome.
he was the best player on the floor. I've said this on a couple different places already, but if you were to just sit somebody down who has never watched NBA basketball ever and say, who's the all-star on the court? Which one of those guys is the all-star? They'd be like, it's that Usman character
Gotta be
running
Usman.
across the court.
Yeah. Yeah, that was tough to watch. My good this week is tanking.
Oh,
Yeah, it's my good. That's right.
Let's go. Bring
Listen,
it.
tanking took center stage this week, as it tends to do at some point in every NBA season.
Yeah.
If you listen to literally any NBA podcast or you're on social media, there's a 100% chance that you encountered the tanking discourse.
Yeah.
On NBA Reddit, for example, basically every other post this week was someone who had just discovered the solution to tanking. They had to share it. And the overwhelming response to tanking is negative, unsurprisingly. A lot of the discussion surrounds the integrity of the game, how bad of a look it is for the league. And I'll admit, having these discussions already in early February is somewhat unique, at least when it comes to the in-game sort of tanking.
Yeah.
But we've had enough negativity, Andrew, which is why I've prepared a list of 4 good things about tanking.
Let's hear it. Oh,
Now,
I'm very excited about
why
this.
isn't it not a top 5 list, Alex? Well, you couldn't think of one more? Nope, I couldn't. I tried. Could only get to 4. But let's look at the bright side for once and talk about some things that I think are objectively good about tanking. So number 4. My number 4 good thing about tanking is that tanking ups the ante for the NBA draft lottery. It takes something that is a fun sideshow during the playoffs and turns it into a must-watch event. If you're someone who hates tanking, and specifically the number of teams tanking this season, at least a couple of these teams are about to be devastated, which is going to be great for you. You know, just know that the more teams that tank, the more devastating the draft lottery will be. 1 or 2 of these teams are going to get absolutely crushed, and you will be the beneficiary. I'll never forget going into the 2021 draft lottery, knowing that OKC had decent odds to land 2 top 5 picks because they had Houston's pick, and they fell to 6th. All that tanking, all that losing, the embarrassment of it all, and the prize was the 6th pick. That is drama, folks.
It was
and
drama.
Multiple teams are going to experience that feeling of devastation this season, and that is good television. Number 3. My number 3 good thing about tanking is that, at least in some instances, I do think tanking can bring a fan base closer together and harness their energy against common enemies.
Yeah.
I don't know if you encountered any Jazz fans this week while surfing the web,
Absolutely.
but my impression was that Jazz fans were generally united, defiant, and in the process of creating their own Arya Stark list of media members that they would be checking back in with when the Jazz are good again. You know, for OKC, we had Justin Termini, who hosts a radio show. He described OKC as the black eye of the league, which that phrase became like a rallying cry of the fan base, to the point that Aaron Wiggins referenced the phrase during his championship speech.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I would argue that tanking has this ability to galvanize a fan base, bring them together, which is ultimately a good thing. Okay, that's number 2.
Okay.
My number 2 good thing about tanking is that tanking creates legends among fan bases. Legends whose NBA careers otherwise would have been forgotten to time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're not a Thunder fan, the name Yorgos Kalaitzakis probably doesn't mean anything to you.
Mm-hmm.
But among true Thunder fans, Yorgos will never be forgotten. He played 4 games for the Thunder in the 21-22 season. But in the final game of the season, which would end up being his final game of the NBA, Yorgos played a complete game. 48 minutes of Yorgos. No breaks, no rest, pure Yorgos. The Thunder lost that game by 50 points. Legend. And for that, I will never forget the name Yorgos Kalazakis, and he will live on in Thunder history forever. That's a good thing. Finally, the number one good thing about tanking is watching a team win a game they were trying to lose. I am not sure there is anything I find more hilarious to watch in the NBA. The Jazz Heat game this week, one of the more entertaining games of the season, because in the previous game against Orlando, Utah had gotten out to a 17-point lead with a minute left in the third quarter. Then they never let their starters back in the game, slowly watched this 17-point lead evaporate until the Magic pulled ahead and won. That game on its own ignited a huge firestorm of discourse among NBA fans.
Yeah.
So then, in the very next game, when they did the exact same thing against Miami but won, I mean, come on, that is objectively funny. That's a hilarious scenario to watch play out, and it would not be possible without tanking. I've mentioned this before, but genuinely one of my favorite in-person NBA experiences was watching a Thunder Blazers game in Portland where they were both tanking, both trying to lose. The game went to overtime.
Yeah.
And to this day, I have never laughed that much at an NBA game. I was in my seat cackling, having the greatest time of my life watching these two terrible teams. And that is something that is one upside of tanking. So is tanking bad? Does it have bad outcomes? Sure. But it's not all bad. There's a few good things.
Poor Isaiah Roby in that game. Isaiah Roby, another tanking legend for the Thunder, hit a 3 to win the game for OKC. And the amount of frustration coming from OKC to Isaiah Roby was off the charts.
Even
like,
in
how could you do this to us?
Even in the arena, like you could tell that the majority of Blazers fans like understood the assignment.
Yeah.
And I would not say that when he hit that 3, it was like, oh, there.
Yeah.
But like people understood it, which made it very entertaining.
I would argue too that that teams that are implementing the tanking strategy, maybe this is number 5 for you. It is more fun to root for losses than it is for your team to just be horrific like the Kings are. Like, that's just a sad fan base. But if you have a team that is like strategically tanking like the Jazz and you are rooting for those losses, that is objectively more fun than just being horrific. Like the Kings wanted to be good this year. They did things like sign Russell Westbrook, sign Dennis Schroeder. They made deals to try to be a better basketball team in the summer, and they couldn't do it because they stink and they have a bad culture. They have bad everything. The Jazz have a good head coach in Will Hardy. They have a good foundation of players. They've developed players. Like, it is objectively more fun to root for those losses than to just watch your team just completely die because you don't have a good culture. You don't have a good head coach. You don't have a good general manager. That is not the case with some of these other teams.
Yeah, and I will say I do feel like that has turned recently for the Kings as they've started to sit some of those vets. At least Kings fans are getting to watch some of these young guys now and have some hope for the future.
Yeah.
But when you're just watching...
Not because of strategy. Like, they didn't get here due to strategy, you know?
They did not get here, but I think they get it now.
Yes.
They understand where they are now.
Yeah, they have no choice.
All right, Andrew, what is your bad this week?
Mine had to do with tanking as well. And like, I just want to can we just accept that this is part of the NBA? And I know it's egregious right now because there's so many teams doing it and having to do it so early. And it's because this draft class is so good and it's worth tanking for. Only 3 champions in the last 40 or 50 years have won a championship without a top 10 pick that was either their first or second best player on the team. It's the 2021 Bucks, the 2019 Raptors, the 2011 Mavs. Everybody else either had LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, these players that just drive winning, and most of those guys come from the top 10, if not the top 3 picks in the draft. That's just the way the NBA has always functioned. And these teams that are bad, most of them don't have any mechanism to get those players. Utah doesn't have a mechanism to get a player like that. You know, Brooklyn right now, is not just going to go get somebody. And also, like, they need a lot more, but they could really start with somebody who's really good at the top of this draft. Now, you have to make the right draft picks. There's been a lot of blunders at the top of the draft, which is why teams like the Kings have been so bad for so long. But like next year, the draft class is not very strong. We're not going to see it. People are going to be like, "Oh, did the league make some tweaks?" And be like, "Oh my gosh, well, we fixed tanking. There's only like 3 teams tanking." The draft class is not very good. This is supposed to be an awesome draft class worth tanking for. And also, like, the smart people in the league are like, "Yeah, you should do this." We have blow it up culture that's happening. That's been happening for years and years now for reasons like this. And it's okay. And it's funny too. There's teams like Phoenix. Like, people are applauding Phoenix. "Oh, great job, guys. You're really trying. Look at this team. This is amazing." If this team does what they're doing right now for the next 4 years, people are going to tell Phoenix to blow it up, Al.
Yeah.
Like, these teams that are just in the middle, I don't think it's a great thing to, like, applaud that. Like, applaud, like, going for the middle. Like, you can do it for, like, 1 or 2 years, but, like, the same people that are applauding them today are gonna be the people telling them to blow it up because they're never gonna be good enough. It's like, what are we supposed to do here? I think it's okay to have, like, these years where we know this draft class has been pumped up for a while. Like, we know. Can we not just, like, admit that, like, hey, it's okay for this class for this to happen? There are so many teams that have no hope whatsoever for the future, and it's okay for this particular class to do it. Now, if there's this many teams tanking for next year's draft, which has been, like, deemed not a good draft class, then, like, okay, maybe we have a problem, but I don't think we'll have the same problem. I think a lot of this is due to the draft class. That's
Yeah,
about
it's
that's
the
about to
draft
hit.
class. There's been some injuries that have swung things,
Sure.
Anthony Davis not being a contributor for Dallas, that really swung things because they looked like
Yeah.
a perfectly normal team when he played.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously with Indiana, with Halliburton, that swung their whole season. I I think it's that, and then also having those 2 teams in Washington and Utah who have these top 8 protected picks.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of downward pressure this year for a variety of reasons that make it kind of unique, and I agree with you that by next year, we probably won't be talking about this until March because, yeah,
Yeah.
inevitably, there will be some teams that tank at the end of the season, but
The
I don't think it will be quite like this.
Yeah, there are extenuating circumstances where I think that people are, like, taking all of these and, like, copying and pasting it to years in the future, thinking like, "Oh, this
Yeah,
is going to
yeah.
be a problem for so long." I think that this is all kinda collided, and it is bad. Like, it
It is
is
bad, no doubt, yeah.
it is really bad. I don't wanna minimize what's happening right now. Like, it is really not good for the NBA, and I know everybody's like, "Well, we must find a solution." It's like, a lot of this stuff will take care of itself next season. And, like, yeah, I think some tweaks need to be made. It's like how you can protect picks and things like that. But to, like, say, like, "Let's do the wheel." I mean, come on.
I do love the
Like,
wheel, though.
the wheel is a fun idea. There ain't no way that that is being collectively bargained and that teams will vote yes to the wheel. Like, there's no chance
You
whatsoever.
just gotta spend I have a 30-minute PowerPoint presentation I'll go over with you, and you will come away in love with the wheel.
I
I
will
I
not.
the one idea that I do like is I don't care what the cutoff is. Let's say like you can't get 2 top 4 picks 2 years in a row.
Yes. Yeah.
But the wrinkle that I like is the team gets to decide if they wanna keep it or not.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
Because what if you are in that Risache draft
Yeah.
and you jump up and you know you're gonna be bad next year?
Mhm.
Can you just pass? Can you say, "Can I pass this year?" But there's no guarantee you're gonna jump up
There's
next
there's
year. You have to commit to being bad then.
I
Like,
love the gamesmanship of that. See, I kinda, like, just like you with, like, you're good, I kinda love the gamesmanship of all of this because it is, like, objectively the best thing for your franchise to get a top 5 pick and to lose and to do it strategically. I think that's the best thing. But to add that strategery to it where you're putting guardrails here for teams so that you just can't be bad forever.
yeah.
But getting to choose whether you
Mm,
want it or not is
mm.
very fun. That is very juicy. I like that. I like that one a lot.
My bad this week is the Houston Rockets in the clutch. So I watched that second
Ooh,
Clippers game this week where
woof.
Kawhi hit the go-ahead and one with 2 seconds left.
Yeah.
After he hit that shot, which put the Clippers up 3, Ime Udoka puts both Şengün and Amen Thompson on the floor for the final shot. 2 guys shooting under 30% from 3 in a game where Reed Shepherd had gone 5 of 10 from 3. They were down 3. Did we really need both Amen and Şengün out there? And so this made me want to do a deeper dive on the Rockets in the clutch. And unsurprisingly, for a team that's definitely talented, fourth in the West, they have not been great in close games. They've played in 28 clutch games, the ninth most in the league, and they are very mediocre 13 and 15 in those games. The only other top 6 seed that has that bad of a winning percentage in clutch games, do you have any idea?
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't have guessed. It's the Boston Celtics, which I just didn't
Oh,
realize.
interesting.
Every other team who has been that bad in the clutch is either a middling playing team or one of the tanking teams. Now, the shooting definitely been an issue in these moments. They're shooting under 30% from 3 in the clutch. Their offense is ranked 21st. But more surprising has been how bad the Rockets have been defensively in the clutch. In clutch moments, their defense is ranked 24th in the league. And I did check to see if this was just bad luck on opponent three-point shooting. It's not. Opponents are shooting 30% from 3 in the clutch against Houston. I don't know what the answer is for them right now. Obviously, losing Steven Adams was a massive hit to just their general identity. But when
Mm-hmm.
I've watched this team lately, it just feels like the sum is always less than its parts. And one thing they have gotten better at as the season has gone on is involving KD more in the clutch.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be his role. And as Kelly Eco pointed out, this was in mid-December. His clutch time usage of 16.9 was fourth on the team. They have corrected that. Since January 1st, KD's clutch time usage is now at 30, number 1 on the team. But that obviously hasn't been the answer just yet because they've gone 6 and 7 since January. I will say that Şengün has been particularly rough in the clutch this season. He's shooting under 42% from the field in the clutch, and he's taking the most amount of shots over the course of
Yeah.
the season. The overall stats still look great, 33 and 20, plus 5 net rating, which is still third best in the West.
Mm-hmm.
But looking ahead to the playoffs, it's just hard for me to see this team getting past the second round. And a lot of that has to do with how they look at the end of games. And so that is my bad this week.
Yeah.
The
That makes
Rockets.
sense.
Andrew, what is your what? What is
My
it?
what is it? My what is Chris Paul retired today.
I saw that.
We're recording this on Friday, and just a little sad and confused by the way that his career had to end because he had an amazing career. 12-time All-Star. He was Rookie of the Year. Had 9. He was a 9-time All Defensive Player, 5-time assist champ, 11-time All NBA. Um, he was the All-Star MVP in 2013. He's one of the greatest point guards ever, and I just hate how his career had to end. He's like went back to the Clippers after being gone for a long time. I mean, the last year he played for the Clippers was 16-17 season, and the Lob City Clippers never really achieved what they were supposed to. And then it's like, oh, this is kind of cool. This full circle moment. He gets to come back to the Clippers. He plays 16 games, annoys the crap out of everybody. And then they're like, all right, we'd rather you not be on the team. It's just kind of sad the way that it ended. After playing all 82 games for San Antonio the year before, kind of being this like mentor to Wemby and like having this kind of feel good story for Chris Paul. I just kind of hate how it ended for CP3. That he didn't kind of get to go out on his own terms, but he is such like it's not surprising that this would be how it ends for him because he's just one of those guys that is just a hooper. He just wants to play, and so it just kind of came to a screeching halt for him, which is just a shame to me. I wish that he could have finished out a season with somebody, but some of this is probably things like family and stuff like that that have kept him from joining another team because I don't know if at 40 years old you want to be moving across the country or like getting an apartment in
Yeah.
Boston or wherever it is. I don't know, but um, just a shout out to Chris Paul on just an amazing career for him that actually started here in OKC, which was just a very pleasant surprise for Thunder fans to get that Hornets team and then getting to go watch him his rookie year, and he won Rookie of the Year and was part of a very like really fun Hornets team. Just an outstanding career. So just a little confused by the end of it
Yeah, he's
for
going to be a
CP3.
fascinating historical case. Like when we're eventually talking to people who didn't get to see him play
Yeah,
and trying to convey how good he was when I mean, he eventually did make the finals with the Suns, but
right.
the relative lack of playoff success compared to some of his peers,
Hmm.
um, he will be a very interesting case to talk about. Also, because if you had him on your team at any time, you kind of like him or at least respect him. If you didn't, there were a lot of people who hated Chris Paul for some legitimate reasons.
For a
So
variety of legitimate reasons.
yeah, so he's just going to be a very interesting historical case.
He is.
How
Yeah.
people will talk about him in 20 years.
Yeah.
For my what this week, Andrew, I want to take a look back at our predictions for first-time All-Stars.
Yeah.
These are predictions we made in the summer with our friends from the You Know Ball podcast, Trill Bro Dude and Sam Sheehan.
That was fun.
Now that we have the full rosters, the extra selections have been made by Adam Silver. It's time to see how we did.
Okay.
This was another big year for first-time All-Stars. Always feels like it's going to be impossible to get more than a couple first-timers, but almost every season we get a ton, and this season was no different. 6 first-time All-Stars this season, and all were selected with the initial teams, which is impressive. No injury replacements among the bunch. So let's give out some awards based on our predictions. Coming in 4th place with 0 points was Trill Bro Dude. I'm sorry, Trill. Trill selected Amen Thompson, which seemed like a great pick.
Seemed like a good pick.
And honestly,
yeah.
you look at his stats, career high in points and assists, but it still feels like a disappointment given how sky high the sentiment was about Amen coming into this
100%.
season. Like he almost felt like a shoo-in.
Mhm.
It's like he's obviously about to take a massive jump. And even though they had Şengün and KD, it made sense that like, oh, this is the year when Amen's going to make the All-Star game. Trill also selected Ivica Zubac, who did end up becoming an important part of this season, but did not reach the heights of last year when he was being considered for the All-Star game. And finally, Trill selected a player who I said at the time, if this guy makes it, you will automatically win. He was the golden snitch, and that player was Cam Thomas. Now, unfortunately, Cam Thomas was waived by his team this season. However, he did just score 34 points for the Bucks. So, was Trill on the right track? I do think Trill was on the right track picking a Nets player, but it turned out that MPJ was the more likely all-star on that roster.
Yeah.
Now, in 3rd place, also with 0 points, was Sam. Sam had a rough start, taking Desmond Bane in the first round, but he made up for it by taking Cooper Flagg and Derek White. I mean, Flagg is having an incredible rookie season and legitimately might end up being like a second-half all-star with the way he's playing right now.
Yeah.
And then Derek White, once again, he's a plus-minus god. He's putting up, this kind of fringe all-star season that he does every year. So not bad picks, but not good enough to score any points.
Yeah.
In 2nd place with 1 point was me. Now, I picked Franz Wagner first overall, which I do feel like he would have made it if he was healthy. His three-point shooting bounced back, 36.5%. I think he's the best player in the Magic, but he's only played in 28 games, so it did not happen. My second selection was Josh Giddey, who seemed like a lock.
Oh, gosh.
Through the first month of the season.
He was such a lock.
But injuries
after 10 games.
And the Bulls reverting back to being the Bulls did not help his case.
Yeah.
But my final pick was Jamal Murray, who after 9 years finally made the All-Star game, and he did it without having to be an injury replacement. He had a very obvious All-Star season, the best of his career, well deserving of his first All-Star selection. And that means that the winner of the first-time All-Star draft was Andrew. Andrew, you finished with 3 points, a clean sweep.
Let's go.
You picked Jalen Johnson, Chet, and Denny Avdia. No notes. You nailed it. The only first-time All-Stars that were not selected by anyone were Norm Powell, who I do remember being discussed, but I feel like the discussion was how is Norm Powell going to make it over Bam, and are the Heat really going to be good enough for 2 All-Stars? I remember that being the conversation.
Yep.
And then there was Jalen Duren, who, if he had been picked, it would have felt like such a bold prediction.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if his name even came up, but those are the results of our first-time All-Star draft, and they are a what because Andrew went 3 for 3. Best performance, I believe, in the draft so far.
Wow. Another interesting performance is just the Clippers. Everything about them is interesting. We're going to talk to Jamal Murray about them right after this quick break.
Andrew, it's time once again for the Wheel of Fandom, the weekly segment where we spin a wheel, it lands on a team, and we become fans of that team for the next week. 3 weeks ago, the wheel landed on the Los Angeles Clippers, who have had one of the stranger seasons in recent memory. Clippers started 6-21 amidst accusations of improper payments and benefits delivered to Kawhi Leonard, a story first broke by Pablo Torre. It looked like everything was crashing down for this Kawhi-era Clippers, but since December 20th, Clippers are 20-7, best record in the league. The team with the second best record during that time span is the Cleveland Cavaliers, who kickstarted a wild deadline for the Clippers by trading 26-year-old guard Darius Garland, who has been unable to stay on the court due to ongoing toe injuries, for 36-year-old James Harden. The Clippers weren't done, though. Next, they traded starter Ivica Zubac to the Pacers for Benedict Mathurin and, at worst, 2 unprotected future firsts. Despite the loss of 2 starters, the Clippers have continued to play well post-deadline, winning 3 of their last 4, including a win over the Wolves and a thrilling win over the Houston Rockets, which included a go-ahead and one by Kawhi with 2 seconds left, part of a 19-point fourth quarter for Kawhi. Clippers are now at 26-28, ninth in the West. Per Cleaning the Glass, the Clippers have the 12th ranked offense and 20th ranked defense for the season. Andrew, if the Clippers are our favorite team, who is our guest?
It's our guy, Law Murray from The Athletic. I've been very excited for this one. Law, how's it going?
I'm punch drunk, but it is All-Star Weekend, and eventually the spirit will find me, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy to be with you guys, though. We're a bit overdue, I feel like. So
we are, absolutely, but
Yeah,
I am glad we
there's that.
waited. I am glad we waited because there's a lot that has happened in the meantime. The Clippers made 2 big trades at the trade deadline, swapping Harden for Garland and moving Zubac for 2 very juicy Pacers picks. Were you surprised at all by the Clippers' aggressiveness, given how well they've been playing with this All-NBA level season they're getting from Kawhi?
That's a tough question for me because the Clippers, I don't feel like we're driving the bus on these transactions. I feel like James Harden was.
Okay.
And I'm surprised that James Harden was aggressive, but I probably shouldn't have been, What I've been saying for some time is James always drives the bus on where he's going. And as it stood, the current contract situation, where the Clippers were, the Clippers had certain leverage over James' situation because of the agreement that they had contractually over the offseason, where James had a player option that if he opted in, he would have until, or the Clippers would have until July 11th to waive him off of that deal, guaranteeing James $13 million, something like that. And think about it. James Harden's history is not to let teams dictate what's happening with him. He is going to let you know when he's going, where he is going next, and he'll even pick out the return for you. And I feel like that's what happened here. And the good thing that the Clippers did is they didn't wait until James went to Asia and called the GM a liar in front of a bunch of kids at his camp. They are a smart organization and realized, you know what, James, you're right. Let's get somebody back for this while we can. The Clippers needed to put a face to the prospective names that they were going to be holding out for this future flexibility for. And one of those names is Darius Garland. Say what you want about Darius and his standing in the league, but he is a 2-time All-Star in his mid-20s. That, when you look at the makeup of the Clippers roster, especially going into this particular season, says a lot about, the shift in which they were interested in. And it's the same thing with Zoo. Like, I sat there and the Clippers told media that Ivica Zubac was not going to play against the Cavaliers for personal leave, and beyond that, because he was about to, him and his fiance were about to welcome their child into the world, which that is correct. I, being a seasoned follower of this team, was also getting comfortable with the fact that if you're going to trade James Harden and you are going to think about trading Ivica Zubac, you better do it now, because it's like a package deal. I've seen Ivica Zubac and I've appreciated him for his entire career, especially these last 6 with the Athletic covering the Clippers. And James Harden rose the level of play for Vitsa Zubats to a significant degree, and his value was never going to be higher. You needed to trade him in 24 hours, or you were losing out on the best window to get the most for him. And you wake up the next morning, the last hour of the deadline, and it's not just that they traded him, but as you guys alluded to get the package that they did, a young player in Benedict Mathurin who showed that he could score at a high level. The other parts of his game are why he's going to be a restricted free agent and why the Pacers didn't lock him up. But that's a talented young piece right there. You get an unprotected first round pick in 2 years, or in 2029. 2031, if the Pacers do win the lottery, and winning the lottery to me isn't just the number one pick. You win the lottery, as the Utah Jazz and the Washington Wizards can tell you, by getting one of the first 4 picks. And so if that's the case for the Pacers, they keep the pick. But if not, then that pick more than likely is going to the Clippers, because the Pacers are quite in quite a deep hole. It's probably going to be 5 through 9 if they don't win the lottery. And that's great. But if the Clippers don't win that lottery, that becomes a tradable asset. And that brings us to the reason the Clippers are still relevant today, and that is Kawhi Leonard. That dude is playing like Jordan. And I mean, at the age that he is and all the injuries that he's overcome and all the distractions that have pockmarked this season, for him to be playing like this, for him to be playing inspired basketball, back-to-backs on the road, several consecutive games in a row, to bring the Clippers back from where they were, it says a lot. But we're all going to be looking at the future of Kawhi in the short and long term for the rest of this season and going into the next offseason. And you might have a tradable asset along with that.
I think there was an expectation after those moves at the deadline that the Clippers would take a significant step back, but it hasn't really happened yet. You talked about Kawhi, but how else have they been able to maintain the momentum so far post deadline? And what's your outlook for the rest of the season?
Honestly, it's a matter of continuity. You know, James and Zoo aren't here, but when Zoo missed games in December, that opened the door for Brook Lopez, a guy who was benched in November because he was such a bad fit with the second unit they were trying to play. And it made them realize, oh, so Brook can play. It's not that Brook can't play. It's just that you can't have a 280-pound, 38-year-old who was not athletic coming out of Stanford be running around with these second units that you see. Like, think about it, Andrew. You see the second units in Oklahoma City. Like, you see what these teams do to downsize. Like, they realize, okay, if Brook is going to be here, we got to like change substitution patterns, get him with the behemoths that are starting at center in first units, right? And so that was the first tip where it's like, okay, one of these guys has to go. And for me, it was like, well, Zoo's going to stay. He's one of the best bargain contracts in the league. He's literally an all defensive selection, right? But Brook was part of it, and these young guys are contributing, and they're giving space to be able to make some mistakes and to play through it. Like Kobe Sanders just got promoted, but that dude's a second round rookie who played at Cal Poly 2 years ago and Nevada last year, 50th pick in the draft, something like that. And here he is getting consistent rotation minutes. Jordan Miller was a guy that got promoted last year, got waived so that the Clippers could do what they could to maintain some flexibility with the roster going into this season. And he's probably going to get promoted again this month. And he's been consistently playing. Like they're not even playing Bogdan Bogdanovic. He's been cleared a couple weeks ago. Nico Batum didn't play in Houston, and they're giving guys a real chance to play. But one guy who I think has been just, I can't even touch him. He's so hot, is John Collins. You're not allowed to ask about John Collins' 3-point percentage. That's like asking about Fight Club at this point. Like, for him to start this season as poorly as he did, and then to turn around, and now it's like every time shot goes up, it's like, yeah, he's making it. I mean, it's been one of the most inspirational heaters I've ever been on. And this dude has this tea in the locker room. It's a tea that I'm pretty sure I can't find in my local store. And I'm living in Los Angeles. We got Erewhon. You can't get what John Collins be getting. He's been playing amazing. And it took him a while to fit. But as good as Kawhi's been, you need someone who's been knocking down shots at an insane, seemingly unsustainable level. It's just that John's unsustainable level has lasted for like 2 months now.
Yeah, for our listeners, I'm looking at the splits. In January, he shot 58% from three. And then in February, so far, up a paltry 41% he's down to. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that is wild. I did want to touch on these young guys because the Clippers just never have young players that play well. Kobe Sanders and Yannick Niederhauser, who are both been really good for them. Can you give us just like a quick scouting report on both guys, just for people that haven't watched them?
I'll start with the first round pick, Yannick Conan the Barbarian. Like when first of all, he was in the G League camp. That's the whole little mini invitational thing that you have to kind of go through. And if you shine in that, you get a late invite to the combine. Like we know who's going to get combine invites. If you're in the G League Invitational, the G League Elite camp, that's like, well, congrats to being here, but like you're lucky if you get drafted at all.
Yep.
So Yannick played well enough in that. And you know what? Yannick was going to look good in that because he can run and jump at the size that he has. Incredibly raw player. Like he played at Penn State. Like if you want a linebacker, Penn State's a great place to look. If you want a basketball player, we ain't talking basketball players out of Penn State for a reason. Homies ain't going to State College to hoop. Before that, he was at Northern Illinois. So the tools were apparent. And so he snuck into that first round, last pick of the first round. And I was looking at centers for the Clippers anyway going into the draft. And names that I was looking at included Ryan Kalkbrenner, Maxime Reynaud, two guys who not only wound up being early second round picks with guaranteed contracts, but have played relatively well in the roles that they've been in for Charlotte for Kalkbrenner and Sacramento for Reynaud. So why did they draft Yannick? They drafted Yannick because he was going to have tools physically that Kalkbrenner, who, again, typical drop center, a big guy, a 5-year guy, his ceiling isn't really much, but the floor is higher. Reynaud, kind of the same thing. Offensively skilled player, not a player that I don't think GMs are looking at to be a real stopper at the center position. Yannick, again, one of the best vertical leaps at the combine, athletic, can move. You had the feeling you needed to teach him how to play basketball. He's that raw. But this dude has picked up over the course of the season. He had incredible vets to start his career with. We do have to start there. If you're going to come into the league as a third stringer, to look at Ivica Zubac and Brook Lopez in your locker room, in your training camp, that's a good place to start. And clearly he wants to be a good basketball player. He's picked up. He's been a great student. Again, he got a half season with James Harden. James Harden has a reputation for getting his bigs paid and for bringing those guys along. He soaked up all he could there. And so, like, he's a guy that his best years are clearly ahead of him. He has a higher ceiling than the centers who went in the second round. And as far as Kobe Sanders goes, he was a guy I actually specifically identified in my one draft report because I don't, unfortunately, start writing draft stuff until right before the draft. I covered the LA Clippers, as you mentioned. They never have young guys on their team, so why am I going to be writing about stuff in spring? Anyway, Kobe Sanders, when I got to my knowledge about this draft, I was like, he's 6'7", dribble pass shoot. What am I missing here? Like, he's going to be a second-round pick because he played at Nevada because he's a 5-year guy. But this is a guy who teams want on their teams. It's just a matter of the makeup and, can he get it? This dude has literally played just about every game since the middle of November as a second-round pick for the Clippers. And not ideal that he's been put in a situation to play as much as he has. He's absolutely looked like a second-round rookie a lot of the time this season. But this is also a guy who pretty much beat the Golden State Warriors back in January, nationally televised game with Snoop Dogg on the mic in the second half. Like Kobe showed out in that game. He can dribble, pass, and shoot. Is he a point guard like he was in college? No one believes that in the front office and the head coach. Those two positions are kind of important. But They called him a playmaking wing. They say that he can do a whole lot of things across the positional spectrum. And to do that as a rookie is really, really encouraging. He got promoted. And I expect as his career goes along, his body will fill out a little more. And his skill set and his knowledge of what he needs to do to create advantages is also going to expand as well.
So, Law, this week, I don't know if you heard about this, but Pablo Torre released part 8 of his investigation into the Clippers, Kawhi, and possible cap circumvention. I'm interested in what it's been like covering this team this season with this slow drip feed of stories coming out. Like day to day, how big of a topic of conversation is this among your colleagues or people within the Clippers world, or is it just kind of ignored within the walls?
Man, some of us of a certain age remember Trapped in the Closet when it dominated that summer on the radio. You had a new John every other week. It felt like that's what this season been like, bro. Like, I don't know when it's going to end, but I can't wait for it to end because it's just been one thing after another. Like, I mean, shoot, I got people texting me being like, yo, you got shot on the pod. It's like, bro, I was just doing my job, man. It's collateral damage being a part of the LA Clippers beat, bro. So the Clippers are not normal in any season. Like, I've been at The Athletic for 6 seasons covering this team, and it's like, it's always one thing or another. You always have a veteran point guard being told they need to go home in the middle of the season. Like I covered John Wall, Rajon Rondo, Eric Bledsoe. Like a couple of them dudes never played an NBA game after their stint with the Clippers, dog. So, in one hand, I'm conditioned. I'm the right person to have to be around this environment. And on the other hand, I'm never comfortable. I literally sleep and with the phone tucked under my chain because that thing gonna ring, and I just gotta wake up and be ready to go and start my day. It's like I guess that's it. That's my rest. So, it's been like 5 different seasons. I told Amin that a couple of weeks ago when I was in New York. It's been like 5 different seasons, and that's the thing. If the Clippers were like outright bad, then it would fit a certain narrative, right? Because especially in LA, people love talking about how the Clippers are the redheaded stepchild of Los Angeles and how they should never get any coverage unless it's scandalous. But the thing with the Clippers is they have been good. They have really good players, a really good coach, and a front office that even though they gave Andrew a championship parade to attend, like they've also been really good at identifying what works for at least a regular season. They haven't figured out that whole postseason part of thing yet, but they literally have the longest active streak of consecutive winning seasons, and they're a threat to continue that streak. So, it's easy to cover, not easy, but like it's more simpler to cover a team that is really bad. You can just cover the dumb stuff that comes up. You don't even have to go to the games, but you gotta cover everything with the Clippers, the basketball, the behind the scenes, and apparently, the podcast that we are licensing this season that has been the biggest story in the league.
This weekend, the Clippers are hosting All-Star Weekend. What will this weekend look like for you? Are there any celebrities that you're trying to meet? Like, what's the weekend look like for you?
Humbly speaking, I'm in LA, bro. So I'm not trying to see nobody. Like, I can't wait for President's Day.
Are you sure? Because I heard that there's going to be 200 influencers there. You're not interested in meeting any of those 200 influencers?
Man, influencers were very close to influenza, and I ain't get a shot. I might need another shot just to get through this weekend, bro. Like, I just want to focus on the game. I can't wait to focus on basketball, man. And that's the thing. Like, shout out to The Athletic. They let me go to cover the previous 4 All-Stars. I've been to San Francisco, Indiana. By the way, Indiana, y'all airport, y'all need to get y'all stuff together. It snows in the cornfields. Before that, Salt Lake City, and I went to Cleveland for the 75th anniversary All-Star. And that was an incredible blessing for my life and my career to get to see that, to get to be in the flow, to get to contribute journalism and all that. And so this year is very different, you know. It is, first of all, it's at a building that's never had All-Star before. It's with a broadcaster that hasn't had this game in almost a quarter century. There's so much logistically that will add to my anxiety, but also I want to be present for it. You know, like, I was in Madison Square Garden when reserves were announced and Kawhi wasn't on it, and I was like, well, that's awkward. And everyone got their nonsense out for 48 hours, only for Adam Silver to add to the plot and make him his personal selection to be on the All-Star roster. Like, it's just funny to me. So it's going to be a very interesting weekend. It's going to be hilarious. I'm going to stretch every single morning, hydrate, find a tea that I can, have approved to get through this weekend. And I hope everybody enjoys it. But yeah, it's going to be a hot mess. And I just want to get through it with no problems.
Well, thank you for answering all of our questions about the Clippers. It is now time to play Andrew versus the Beat, which you're very familiar with. Come up with 8 questions about the Clippers. You're going to give me a number between 1 and 8. It will correspond to a question. If you get it right, you'll get at least 2 points. If you get it wrong, Andrew will have a chance to steal for 1. And we'll go back and forth until all the questions have been asked and answered. So to start us off, Law, I just need a number between 1 and 8.
Let's go with 3, since a certain Clipper won't be wearing that number anymore.
That's right.
That was a bad choice, Law. That is the hardest question. All right, here we go. Good luck. Nicholas Batum has played over 900 minutes this season and has taken a total of 9 two-point attempts. Now, this has never happened before. In fact, throughout NBA history, there have only been 6 other players to play 500-plus minutes in a season and take fewer than 20 two-point attempts. Can you name one of those other 6? And as a hint for you, 4 of the 6 occurred since the 18-19 season, so pretty recent. So these are guys who played 500-plus minutes in a season and took fewer than 20 two-point attempts.
Wow.
And again, Batum is over 900 minutes and has 9 two-point attempts, which is awesome.
That's crazy.
Right. Oh, man. So we're guessing guys who hate 2-pointers in general.
They hate them. They're allergic.
I don't know why this guy's on the top of my tongue. I'm going to go with Sam Merrill. I don't know if you know if he has enough minutes, but I'm going with Sam Merrill as one of my.
Sam Merrill, a good guess. 3-point attempt rate, very high, but he is not on the list. Andrew.
Wow. That was actually the exact name I was going to guess was Sam Merrill.
Really?
It has to be one of those guys that's just like a 3-point specialist. Yeah. The other guy, I feel like maybe Sam Hauser's like another one. I'll guess Sam Hauser.
Yeah, you guys are thinking of too good of players.
Okay.
Yeah, so the correct answers, the guys from a long time ago, Brian Cardinal and Mike Miller. Now, Mike Miller, maybe you would have guessed if you thought. More recent, though, Caleb Houston, Lindy Waters III.
Oh, Lindy.
Mie Auni, and Gary Clark.
Dude,
those are the other names.
Yeah, you're right. That is the hardest question.
Shout out to all those guys. Yeah. Shout out to all those guys. I am not mad that we didn't get there. So,
yeah. Number 1. Al.
All right, number 1. Andrew, how many Clippers have had a 30-point game?
On the show.
Yeah, I looked up the pronunciation. I want to make sure I got it right. Andrew, how many Clippers have had a 30-point game this season?
This season? Oh my gosh.
How many Clippers? You don't have to tell me who, just the number.
5?
That is incorrect. Law, you can steal for 1.
How many Clippers? I mean, shoot, 2 of them had 55-point games this season. I'm trying to think who else had a 30-piece on this team. There ain't that many guys on the team that can get buckets. I don't think Zeus had one. Don't think Johns had one. I feel like there's one more guy that's like escaping me. I'm gonna go with 4. I don't need to tell you who. I'm gonna go with
That's
4.
correct.
Oh,
And I was going to say you didn't need to tell me, but that is correct. You were correct. It was 4. However,
dang.
it was one of the guys you said didn't have one, which was Zubats. Zubats did have one. Kawhi, Harden, and then that crazy Brook Lopez game when he hit all
Yeah.
those threes.
Oh, that's wild. I just kind of assumed that John Collins, in the midst of his heater, got one. But
Law, back to you. Board is yours.
Let's go with number 8.
Question number 8. The Clippers had a 3-19 stretch this season. The last time they had a stretch that bad was the 09-10 season. Who led the 09-10 Clippers in total points scored?
I know who they would have wanted to lead them in total points scored. It's a guy who didn't even get to play. I'm gonna go Eric Gordon.
Eric Gordon, he
Ooh.
was 3rd. Andrew.
dang. I just hope it's this guy. All-Star Chris Kaman.
It was All-Star Chris Kaman, the
Let's go.
caveman.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew. You've both stolen a point. Game is
Number
tied.
2.
Board is yours. Number 2. Kawhi Leonard has taken 10-plus threes in 6 games this season. Prior to this season, how many times had Kawhi taken 10-plus threes in a game? Now, you get to choose who answers first. You can make
Wow.
Law answer first, and then you go higher or lower, or you can answer first, and Law will go higher or lower.
Wow.
So prior to this season, how many games with 10-plus three-point attempts?
I don't even know how to begin to guess this number. I'll say 11.
11. Law, would you like to go higher or lower?
What's the question again?
How many games prior to this season did Kawhi take 10-plus threes?
You said 11. I'm going to go lower.
That is correct. It was 9.
Oh,
9.
no.
And 6 this season.
Wow.
Okay. Law, board is yours.
Let's go with 5.
Question number 5. The Clippers are 20-7 since December 20th, the best record in the league over that time span. Since December 20th, the Clippers have the 4th-ranked offense per cleaning the glass. Who are the 3 teams that have had a better offense than the Clippers since December 20th?
Wow.
And you get 1 point per correct answer. So you could get 3 points here, Law.
Oh, man. And I look at these, well, not cleaning the glass, but I look at these numbers almost every day.
So this is since December 20th.
Since December 20th.
The 3 offenses that have been better than the Clippers.
I'm going to go with Denver, Boston, and Charlotte.
You said Denver first, and that is incorrect. Andrew.
Boston?
Yes.
You're welcome, Andrew.
I'm about to be really mean. Charlotte?
Yes. Can you name the other one? This next one, the number 1 offense since December 20th.
I don't think it's Denver because they've had just so many
because
guys.
I just said it wasn't?
Yeah. Well, that too. But also just because they have had so many struggles. But I think that this is Cleveland, though.
Wow. Andrew, you got all 3 points.
Yes.
You now have a commanding 4-2 lead, and the board is yours.
I will go with number 4.
Question number 4. Kobe Sanders has played 972 minutes as a rookie this season. Who were the last 3 Clippers rookies to play at least that many minutes?
Oh, my
1
gosh.
point per correct answer.
Dude. Clippers rookies. Can I just name Clippers rookies as like another?
Sure. The first one out of your mouth, though, will count.
Another good question. Shoot.
Had to play at least 972 minutes.
That's a lot of minutes.
A lot of minutes.
Terrence Mann?
No. Okay, Law, you could steal 3 points here.
I definitely have a lag on one of you guys. So, what was Andrew's guess, Alex?
Andrew guessed Terrence Mann.
You guessed T-Man. And how many minutes are we talking about here?
At least 972.
Okay. Sounds like a lot of minutes. And again, I don't feel like that has been the case over the last. So the last three.
Yes, the last 3.
Last 3. God.
And for our listeners, Terrence Mann, he played 362 minutes his rookie season.
And a lot of them were the last 15 seconds of a quarter, of a first quarter. Anyway, I'm going to put Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on there.
That is correct.
Oh,
give me something. I'm leaving here at something.
2 more names.
2 more names. 2 more names. Brandon Boston.
And that is incorrect. The other 2 names, Milos Teodosic.
Oh.
And Sindarius Thornwell.
Oh my God.
Thornwell.
Man.
Oh my God.
Okay, Law, you've pulled within 1. You have control of the board. 2 questions remain.
Let's go with number 7.
Question number 7. Kawhi is currently averaging 27.9 points per game. Over a full season, we'll say at least 50 games played, only 2 players in franchise history have averaged more points per game. Name them both. You do get 1 point per correct answer.
Repeat the question one more time, Alex.
So Kawhi's averaging 27.9 points per game. And I'm asking, in franchise history, there's been 2 guys who have averaged more points per game over a full season. Name both of them.
This is not just the Clippers. We can include Buffalo.
That is correct. Very smart question, Law. That is why I said franchise history, not Clippers franchise history.
Right. So we're gonna put Bob McAdoo on there.
That is correct. Tie game.
And it's got to be World Beat Free.
Woo! And Law moves ahead by 1, setting up a dramatic final question for the win. Okay, Andrew?
Okay.
You get first dibs on this.
Okay.
Darius Garland was drafted 5th in the 2019 draft.
Mm-hmm.
He is 2nd in minutes played from that rookie class. We're going to name the rest of the top 10 in career minutes played from the 2019 NBA rookie class. Now, important points here. No undrafted rookies. So Lou Dort is not included in this, though he would be in the top 10. And also, we're not including guys from the previous draft who were injured. So Michael Porter Jr. did play as a rookie in 2019, but he was part of the 2018 class. Okay. So we're just focused on the other 9 guys who were actually drafted in 2019 who are in top 10 for career minutes played. So Andrew, you'll give me a name, then Law will give me a name, and we'll go back and forth.
RJ Barrett.
RJ Barrett was number 1. Law.
Top 10, right?
Top 10 in minutes played.
What a tricky rookie class, because you saw who was in that rookie class.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hunter.
DeAndre Hunter, number 8.
Wow.
Minutes played. Andrew?
Rui,
number 9 in minutes played. Back to Law. Whew. This is it. Whoever stumbles first, the other one will win.
Oh, man. I hate myself for what I'm about to do. Ja Morant.
Ja Morant is number 10 on the list.
Wow.
So you guys have gotten 8, 9, and 10, and then number 1.
What about Jordan Poole?
Jordan Poole is number 6. Back to Law. 4 names remain. I don't have a plan if you get all of them.
I don't have a plan if you get all of them.
Oh man. 2019, right? 2019. Who the heck was drafted in 2019? This is killing me. Jackson Hayes.
Jackson Hayes is not on the list,
Damn.
which means Andrew wins the week. The other names: number 3, Kobe White. Number 4, PJ Washington.
Yeah.
Number 5, Tyler Hero. And number 7, Keldon Johnson.
Keldon Johnson. Oh, man. This goes without saying. Go read Law Murray at The Athletic. He's the very best. I'm so glad I get to work with you, and I'm so glad that you specifically are covering the Clippers, because we need somebody like you covering this crazy team. So thanks for coming on, and go read Law Murray.
All right, Andrew, that was Clippers week, 3 weeks of the Clippers. But it's now time to spin the wheel again for the Wheel of Fandom to find out which team will be our favorite team for next week. So let's spin the wheel and see who we get. Next week's Wheel of Fandom team during the All-Star break will be, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Wow, we have not gotten the Thunder since year 1 of Slam and Jam.
Since year 1 of Slam and Jam, and we're getting them during a week where I doubt they're playing any games.
They play on Friday against the Nets. I do know
that's
that.
Right. Well,
So-
Friday. Yeah, so we're not going to get to...
We won't even get it. So, well, I need to try to see if I can get a fun guest for us. I will try.
Hold on. We got Jared McCain in the fake 3-point contest.
Yeah, we do. We have
We
Chet Rising, or not Rising Stars, in the Shooting Stars, and then
Yeah.
also in the All-Star game. So,
And we
I
got
guess
some Rising Stars too. Oh, well, no, AJ's out.
yeah, he's out. No, we don't.
Gosh. Okay, never mind.
Well, we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. I hope everybody's doing great. Enjoy All-Star weekend, and we'll talk to you guys again next week.